morning, gals and guys. It's Steph with Tiny's Garden, and today I'm going to bring you an August tour of my cut flower garden in my 14 raised beds that I have in one other little section in my garden. As you can see, things are starting to take off quite a bit. Dahlias are still slow this year, but we'll take a look at all that, so come along. So let's start in the back here with my most prolific raised bed. Look at the sky. It is going crazy with growth and I could not love it more. We've got zinnias in the front, cosmos in the back. Come down and take a closer look. Okay, I am up on top of this raised bed here, and you can see we've got different varieties. That little white one over here is an Oklahoma white. The Oklahoma varieties are smaller than other zinnia varieties. And holy cow, guess what this one is? Zowie Yellow Flame, and I understand the name now, but I actually like it. It might be a little loud for some people, but it's just so fun and different. And then here we have Benary's Giant Deep Red. So pretty. Here you can see the difference in those two here. I think this is Benary's Giant Dahlia Flowered Scarlet, or I'll put the name of which one I think this is on the screen, but the two reds are clearly different, and I know this one's the deep red because I have the ID tag. And here we have my favorite in the middle and on the right, Benary's Giant Salmon Rose. And you can see the difference here with another, that might be a flowered scarlet. Some of these ID tags did not pull through for me, but these are my favorite so far. But I have to say, it's my first year growing zinnias, and I love them. I will be growing them every year. They're so easy too. Let's move on to the cosmos. Look at these double click snow puffs. I love their structure, like a little pinwheel in there. And they have just gone crazy. I pinched them. I should have pinched them even earlier. But look at the height on these. This is my other favorite over here. Let's go over there and take a look at that. Now over here we have Fizzy White. That structure is just a little different, but still really pretty. And I can't even explain how tall these guys are getting because I am standing on top of this raised bed, and this right here that's about to bloom is at my head. So these guys get tall, and they're so ethereal and just absolutely beautiful. Can't recommend them enough. Now over here we have Rubenza that does get smaller and is a little deeper coloring than these double click cranberries over here. But I have to tell you, I'm just not crazy about the color of these, so I don't think I'll grow these again. They do get smaller though, if that's helpful info to you. Now I'm in the front garden beds, and this is where you can really see a very big Benary's Giant Salmon Rose. How can you not love that? In comparison with the smaller Oklahoma salmon over here. So there is the size difference. These are still very fun for bouquets, and they're pretty prolific too. I've gotten a lot of blooms off of these, so that's a nice side-by-side comparison there. Then my Lysianthus bed, I mean, I can never get enough of these. They have performed really well this year. I actually managed to successfully grow some from seed, some new varieties too. I really love the Arena 3 Apricot, the Voyage 2 Champagne, which is over here. It's hard to see that slight tinge of champagne on camera, but it is really beautiful. And even the pink Pickety I like as well, and I'm not a pink girl, but that subtle pink on the outside is really striking. And I will pack even more flowers in all of these raised beds next year, but especially beds that look like this that have a decent amount of space. I've got room to spare here. So the Lizzies have been wonderful. In the back of this bed, we've got Cherry Caramel Flax, absolute workhorse. Looks very similar to this when it first blooms. So a nice big magenta center and a caramely ivory off color on the petals. And then it ages a little bit more the longer it's on the bloom, like over here. But the scent is out of this world. Again, packing more in next year. Super happy with those. Shall we check on the queens? They are still running pretty slow for me, everyone. I have 6 or 7 that have bloomed, but let me show you what's in bloom right now. This is Leo Gelito, and I don't think its true color is coming out on camera. It's a real highlighter yellow. Then over here, this is one of my healthier looking plants. This is Arabian Nights. Love that deep color. And fairly tall as well. You can see pretty sturdy all the way down. I don't have many that look that healthy. So thumbs up for Arabian Nights. Let's get that out of your face. Yes, thumbs up for you. This one is past its prime. This is Joey Morella. Just have had one. I need to go in there and cut really deeply into that plant. Seattle over here is super fun with the coloring of white and yellow on the inside. I'm a big fan of that. And Golden Scepter over here is a nice yellow. It's softer than the Leo Gelito. Again, I need to come in and cut deeply into these plants. 4 more blooms. And unfortunately on this end is where we're looking really sad. There's some disease or water issues going on here, and unfortunately these 2 were the ones I was most looking forward to, which is breakout. So we'll see if they do anything. I think they're planted too close to where the water emitter hole is, because if we pull back here, it's like right there. So I don't know, that's just a big bummer this year. Otherwise, we do have some that structure looks good, that have buds on them and just haven't bloomed yet. Over here, this is Sierra Glow. Look at that big bud that's about to burst open. So I just need to give it more time, I guess. I have to say, I'm starting to get a little sad because I'm worried these dahlias are just not gonna really be as prolific as last year, because I had such a great first year with them last year, especially in containers. I didn't really do any in containers, just a few, because I was really pulling through for these, but it's a learning experience. That's why we try and try again. I think I need to maybe readjust some irrigation here, a little too much water perhaps. I'm not sure, but let me know how your dahlias are doing. Comment below, especially if you're around Zone 5B, near my area. Help me out and tell me you've got a lot of blooms that are coming on. I just have to be patient. Ironically, the best thing I've gotten out of my dahlias this year are these anemones that I threw in here unexpectedly, hoping for anything, and voila, they come with something super unique like this, which I think is St. Bridget the Governor, or Mr. Foker. I'll throw a picture up on the screen. A couple beds down, I also have this one, which is definitely starting to burn out, but I love how unique it looks. Totally different than anything else. I think it was probably a Bordeaux, but is kind of transformed. So cool. Now over here in this bed, we've got a lot of different Scabiosa. I've shown you Black Knight and Fire King that have been really pretty, but check out Fama White. It took a long time to come on, but oh my gosh, is it ever so pretty. I just love the structure of these. I think even more than the other Scabiosa. Just took them a really long time to bloom, but they're here. I even like their structure before they bloom, which I've used in a bouquet. Really cool texture. Then at the back of this bed, Sahara mixed rudbeckia that I've been raving about. This side is past its prime. I need to go in and cut that back, so hopefully I get a second flush, but we'll definitely grow those again. And here's some more color variety from that as well. Cherry Brandy rudbeckia down here. Sahara mix there. And then the rest of these beds that I'm going to show you are looking pretty tired. I'm letting pretty much everything go to seed. I'm still cutting a little bit, but there's things that have already produced and dropped some seed, like Bells of Ireland, which I'm fine with because I want to try the cool flowers method of some of those more hardy annuals self-seeding themselves and see what comes back next year in my zone, which is 5B. So I'm hoping that works, but it'll also be interesting to see what the volume is of everything that comes back. So stay tuned on that, but you will notice these other beds are looking quite tired and a little underwhelming. These foxgloves here should come back again next year. I believe that's pink Dalmatian, peach Dalmatian. And then the Dusty Miller did pretty well for being my first year with it. And over here on this side, this is where my Snapdragon display starts. That's an old anemone. And you can just see everything's looking a little tired. Right here, these are fresh, and that's probably the nicest ones I have. In this back bed, I may get one final flush. I need to go in and pretty much cut everything that looks like this back. This is a straw flower that has self-seeded itself here. And back here we've got the same kind of display. So the snaps are tired, but I think we can get one more flush. Axie, what are you doing? Are you eating one of my gladiolas? No. If you guys wondered how my gladiolas and crates did, there it is. I actually did get 2 of them to bloom, and then I moved them here, which was a bad idea because they got less sun. But I'll show you some other gladiolas that are doing better. These gladiolas I planted really last minute, but I threw them in there and they're growing. You can see the only issue is they're leaning, and that's because they're leaning for the light. Right up above is a big tree, and so it reaches under those branches toward the light like this. But they're looking really healthy, so I'm hoping I still get some blooms off of those. And the front of this bed is, or I should say are, dahlias that were also planted late. But actually, check out this. That one's starting to unravel its bloom there. This bed, I showed you these zinnias already. Coming back here, I did just use some of the Sunday Gold Celosia in a bouquet. I'm a big fan. A little amaranth. This guy just doesn't get much sun in this back corner. And then this is Texas Plume Celosia. And I've not grown it before, but I'm a big fan of it. And it actually can get fairly big. It's been pretty. And over here is where our self-seeding frenzy starts. Obviously these Bells of Ireland are on their way out, but if you look inside of these holes, you can see some seeds. I'm hoping you can see this, but that dark spot inside there are 4 seeds of Bells of Ireland. So I'm hoping they just drop and come back even more voluminous next year. There they're in focus. You can see those seeds. So it's pretty cool how it works. Back here in this bed, looking very tired except for this wilting Matilda here. That's a dahlia that I hope will bloom. In the back here we've got Bachelor Button, what did really well for me. I was happy with it, and this is a big self-seeder. If we look at my hand, you can see from this, which is where the seeds form, there's several seeds in there. And I'll just toss them in there and let them come back next year. So when I'm talking about things self-seeding, it's only those cold hardy annuals like Bells of Ireland, Bachelor's Button, things like that that can really tolerate cold, that can do that. Stuff like this Zinnia sun-loving, summer-blooming annual will not. Also dahlias will not. They come from a tuber. Gladiolas, similar, will not. So just think about that when you're wondering what will self-seed and what won't. cold hardy annuals will. And if you haven't yet, check out the book Cool Flowers by Lisa Mason Ziegler. Absolutely awesome information, and everything about the cool flower growing method is in there. So check that out. Here in a snapdragon bed that has seen better days, but if you look closely, do you see those little black dots in there? Those, I believe, are snapdragon seeds, and snapdragon is a cold hardy annual. I wasn't 100% sure if it would self-seed or not. Let me know in the comments below if yours do, but I would love for some snaps to come back too on their own. Here's a look at the rest of that bed, and these Costa apricots are really still looking quite beautiful right there. I wish they all looked that good still, but alas. We are at the end of August, and this is where we're at. So a lot of different snapdragons. Some were tinier than others, like the night snapdragons there, the day and night snapdragons. And the Rembrandt snapdragons have such a fun, bright color, pink and yellow. That's a good look at a Rembrandt snapdragon right there, but you can see its stature. Not real tall, just tinier. I don't think I'll do those again. And similarly over here, a lot of reaching for the sun. It's just tough in a woodland, that's the way it is. But I'm gonna get some netting next year, as I've said before, and pack even more in here, and hopefully we get even more blooms. And then over here we have the corner cut flower garden, which has gone astray. I've let it also go to seed, especially the buclurum here. Check out this. Look at all those seeds in there. There's an even better example over here. See all those little seeds? So those will drop and self-seed itself. Bunch of little ones in there. So that'll be fun to have that come back next year. That's a great filler. And also, I believe, one of the first cold hardy annuals to bloom in the spring. But I've got to come in here and do one more flush back. I still have some things coming up, some snapdragons. Those pink ones are not my fave. But there's a select few in here I could still harvest from. Thankfully, Apple Blossom being one of them, because that's one of my favorite in there. And also this one is not bad either. I think that's Early Sunset. And this is Potomac Orange, I believe. So some interesting ones in there, but the sweet peas are shot, that's for sure. So there you have my August tour of the cut flower garden. Obviously things are starting to come into their seed producing schedule here, getting into fall. So it's an interesting turn from blooms, blooms, blooms to some starting to produce seed, and then seed will drop. And then I will be switching over a lot of these beds. Fire up, fire up. Go, tulips, go. Fire up, fire up. Go, tulips, go. Tulip time is coming. It is time to order the tulip bulbs. I need to get on it. Big plans for this next year. And all I can say is, can you imagine a lot of beds like this behind me? Full of tulips and anemones and ranunculus, because I can. So stay tuned for plans for fall bulb planting and plans for next season. It's already time to think. It's already time to think about those seasonal blooms next year. In the meantime, we will enjoy the blooms we have. Exhibit A, right there. Cosmos and Zinnia is just filling my heart up. And hopefully our Dahlia queens bloom soon. Fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers crossed. Comment below and let me know how all of your cut flowers are doing right now in August. What's blooming for you? Anything that's self-seeding already? What works for you cool flowers wise in coming back next year and self-sowing their seed? Tell me all about it. Just tell me all about it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing to follow along with all things garden, and we will see you in the next one. Happy planting, everybody. Bye.